It all started with innocent WhatsApp messages. But as time went on, things escalated. They began making flirty phone calls, followed by video calls that turned a little more provocative. Before long, they were exchanging photos of intimate parts, using the excuse that they missed each other. This kind of playful interaction was exactly what Seppi craved. She loved the thrill of it all. The idea of being with someone else's husband gave her a strange sense of adrenaline, like a high-stakes game she couldn't resist. Hello, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into another shocking real-life story that will leave you speechless. This time, we're heading to the bustling city of Yangon, Myanmar. Every person on this planet has their own way of living. It might not always align with what others expect or approve of, but hey, that's life. It's not up to us to judge. Right or wrong is ultimately for the Almighty to decide. So let's drop the sarcasm and avoid acting like we're the holiest people around. Why am I saying all this? Well, the woman in today's story lived her life on her own terms, carefree and completely unbothered by what others thought. In her words, "I'm not asking my haters to feed me, so why should I care what they think?" Intrigued? Good. Let's get into the full story and uncover what really happened in this case. Before we dive into today's story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And hey, share this story with your friends. You never know who might need to hear it. So, here's how it goes. Meet Seppi, a woman born in 1987 in Bago City, Myanmar. In 1999, her family packed up and moved to Yangon, where she's been living ever since. The youngest of 3 siblings, Seppi was never one to live by the rules. She works as a staff member at a big-name leasing company in the capital and earns extra cash trading diamonds online with her eldest brother. Pretty impressive, right? In 2010, Seppi married a man named Loka. It wasn't exactly a love story for the ages. The marriage was arranged by their parents. Unsurprisingly, it didn't last. Just 2 years later, they called it quits. But here's the twist. There was no bad blood. They parted on good terms, and Loka even became her best friend after remarrying in 2014. After the divorce, Seppi moved back into her family's big house to live with her mother. Her mother wasn't in the best health, so her brother hired a nurse to help care for her. With her newfound freedom as a young divorcee, Seppi embraced life with open arms. She wasn't looking to settle down again. She had money, independence, and no interest in tying herself to another man. Bars, dating apps, one-night stands. You name it, she was all in. If she liked someone, she wasn't shy about spending a little money to get what she wanted. Her friends shared the same carefree vibe, and for Seppi, this was her normal. In 2018, she entered a relationship with a guy named Vanek. Athletic, handsome, and her age, he seemed like a great match. At first, she was drawn to his charm and good looks. But as time went on, she got bored. To Seppi, Vanek was too good, like, annoyingly good. He had this marriage before intimacy principle that drove her nuts. She wanted to test the waters before walking down the aisle, but Vanek wasn't about that life. When he finally mustered up the courage to propose to her in front of her mother, Seppi flat out rejected him. "He's too perfect," she said. "It's boring." The whole thing caused a huge argument with her mom, but Seppi stuck to her decision. Vanek, unfortunately, was just too nice for her wild spirit. Fast forward, and Sophia's love life didn't get any calmer. But that's just how she liked it. She was never lonely, especially with her frequent nights out at bars. One of her closest friends was Miri, a 39-year-old widow with a kid. Miri ran a travel blog and a car rental business, and she was just as adventurous as Seppi. The two clicked instantly after meeting at a nightclub, and within a week, they were inseparable, hanging out 2 or 3 times after work. Sure, they had a few other friends in their party crew, but Miri was special. She was smart, experienced, and had that big sister vibe that Seppi admired. In early January 2020, Seppi, who loved browsing dating apps in her free time, connected with a man from out of town. Myeongtagar, to be exact. His name was Sombath, a 36-year-old with dark skin that Seppi found irresistibly exotic. At first, their connection started casually with WhatsApp messages. But as days turned into weeks, their chats turned into playful phone calls and naughty video calls. They even exchanged some steamy photos, using nostalgia as their excuse. This was exactly the kind of thrill Seppi enjoyed. Sombath didn't hold back either. Early on, he admitted he was married with 2 kids. But for him, this was just fun, a little escapism from his day-to-day life. Strangely, this confession didn't bother Seppi at all. If anything, it made him even more appealing. The idea of being with someone else's husband gave her a rush, like living on the edge of a forbidden thrill. She was hooked and wasted no time insisting they meet in person. By March 2020, the two finally met at a hotel in Yangon. The chemistry was instant. They liked what they saw in each other, and before long, their connection went to the next level. Multiple times, in fact. For Seppi, Sombath was everything she had been searching for. Wild, mature, passionate, and experienced. She was completely smitten. "Stay longer in Yangon," she urged him. "Don't go back to your city." But Sombath had his own struggles. He admitted he didn't have enough money to stay indefinitely. Truth be told, he'd been unemployed even before the pandemic hit. To fund his trips, he had lied to his wife Melis, saying he was going for job interviews. Seppi, however, had no problem footing the bill. She covered all his expenses, even renting a room where they could stay together. For 2 blissful weeks, they indulged in each other's company without limits. Here's a little about Sombath's background. His wife Melis runs a small cake business out of their home, catering to custom orders. They have 2 kids, aged 9 and 6, back in Myeongtagar. Sombath used to work as a real estate agent, selling apartment units. But he lost his job as the pandemic wreaked havoc on the economy. This wasn't Sombath's first brush with infidelity. In 2017, he was almost divorced after being caught with another woman. Family intervention and apologies saved the marriage, mostly for the sake of their children. But here he was again, claiming to be on job interviews and training sessions, while in reality, he was living it up in Yangon with Seppi, who spoiled him completely. All she asked in return was his undivided attention, and he was happy to oblige. If Seppi had been hesitant to commit seriously to anyone before, things felt different with Sombath. One day she asked him, "Would you leave your wife and kids for me?" His reply was vague but intriguing. "You could, slowly. Let's see how serious you are about me." This sparked a fire in Seppi. She felt challenged to prove her devotion. She started transferring money to him regularly, bought him a new phone, trendy clothes, and even promised him a car and a house if they got married. But Sombath still acted as though it wasn't enough. He wanted more. Desperate to make him hers, Seppi reassured him, "Just wait, I'll make it happen." For the next 6 months, their relationship continued. Sombath traveled back and forth between Yangon and Myeongtagar, with Seppi footing the bill for all his expenses. He claimed he was working on finalizing separation papers with his wife. But in reality, he wasn't. While he was away, Seppi still indulged in occasional one-night stands with men she met at nightclubs. Her carefree lifestyle didn't completely change, even though her close friends, including Miri, knew she was dating Sombath. By late September 2020, Seppi invited Sombath to Yangon to celebrate a festival together at the Diversity Club. He agreed, and the two attended the event on the evening of September 30th. However, after the festivities ended, Sombath was nowhere to be found. Confused and worried, Seppi tried calling him, but his phone was off. She was looking forward to spending time with him after the event. She missed him too much to let the night end abruptly. Strangely enough, her best friend Miri was also missing. Some mutual friends mentioned seeing Sombath and Miri leave the club together, but no one knew where they went. Attempts to reach Miri were also unsuccessful. The following afternoon, Seppi, still fuming, stopped by Sombath's rented room and confronted him. "Where were you last night?" she demanded. Sombath casually replied that he had met a friend and went out for drinks elsewhere. Unsurprisingly, Seppi didn't buy his excuse, and their argument grew loud enough to annoy the neighbors, who yelled at them to take their fight outside. Frustrated, Seppi stormed off. The next day, Miri finally confessed. She admitted that after the festival, Sombath had invited her to his place. "I'm sorry for leaving without telling you," she said, "but I ended up sampling what your boyfriend offers." Seppi was furious. But Miri brushed her anger off with a smirk. "Come on, I've let you borrow my boyfriends before. Why so uptight now? Don't be petty." Though she tried to keep her cool, jealousy gnawed at Seppi. On October 4, 2020, she picked Sombath up from his rented room and took him to a hotel instead. She didn't want to risk another shouting match with the neighbors if she went back to his place. When they arrived at the hotel's basement parking lot, they didn't head inside right away. Seppi confronted Sombath, bringing up Miri's confession. "Why would you betray me? And with my best friend?" she demanded. Her anger grew as she grilled him about his so-called separation papers with his wife. Sitting in the car, Sophia's emotions boiled over, while Sombath tried to calm her down. Since the parking lot was mostly empty, no one could hear their heated exchange. As her frustration peaked, Seppi grabbed her phone and attempted to call Sombath's wife. She had saved the number. This enraged Sombath, and the argument escalated into shoving and hitting. Things quickly spiraled out of control. In a fit of rage, Sombath pressed his hand against Sophia's neck with such force that she couldn't fight back. Tragically, the 33-year-old woman took her last breath in the car that night. Panicked and realizing what he had done, Sombath fled. He walked about 300 meters away from the hotel and disappeared into the night. 3 days later, on October 7, 2020, hotel security finally discovered Sophia's car. Initially, they didn't think much of it, assuming it belonged to a guest staying for an extended period. But when a foul odor started emanating from the vehicle, they called the police. Together, they opened the car to find Sophia's lifeless body inside. Her ID card and business card in the wallet helped authorities contact her family. Sophia's body was sent to Yangon General Hospital for further examination. The results revealed she had died from asphyxiation, along with bruises on her head caused by blunt force trauma. Security camera footage from the hotel's entrance revealed that Sombath was the last person seen with her. A search of his abandoned hotel room led police to a clue, a piece of paper with his wife Melis's phone number in the drawer. Authorities contacted Melis and worked with the local police in Myeongtagar to track Sombath down. The man was eventually arrested while casually bathing at home. With clear evidence from surveillance footage, along with fingerprints and DNA found in Sophia's car, Sombath had no way to deny his involvement. He was immediately taken back to Yangon for questioning. During the investigation, and with his lawyer present, Sombath admitted to what had happened. He claimed things got out of hand during the argument that night. In his words, "I got carried away." He added that despite his actions, he still loved his wife and children deeply. He said he had promised his mother he would protect his family at all costs. "I promised to stop playing around after I was caught last time," he confessed. The struggling economy, job scarcity, and Sombath's twisted mindset drove him down a destructive path. He fully embraced the lavish lifestyle Seppi offered, indulging in her generosity as she encouraged him to buy anything he wanted. Sombath thought to himself, why work hard when someone else is footing the bill? But over time, he grew tired of Sophia's attention and turned his charm toward her best friend, Miri. This led to trouble when Seppi caught on and confronted him. She even threatened to expose his actions to his wife. A heated argument ensued, and according to Sombath, she struck him first. He claimed he was just defending himself but admitted he went too far in retaliation. During the trial at Yangon City High Court, Melis, Sombath's wife, testified that her husband had told her he was working in the property sector again. He would return home 4 or 5 times a month and rented a room in the city. Although Sombath always refused her visits, Melis believed he was trying to rebuild their life, staying focused on work and leaving his past infidelity behind. Unfortunately, Her trust was misplaced. The truth revealed that Sombath had not changed at all. If anything, he had only sunk deeper into deceit and betrayal. Miri also took the stand, expressing her shock and disappointment over Sophia's jealousy. She stated that Seppi had always lived a carefree, open lifestyle, and they had never had an issue with sharing partners in the past. So when Seppi took offense to Miri's brief fling with Sombath, it caught her completely off guard. On March 25, 2021, the court handed down its verdict. Sombath Salomon was found guilty of first-degree aggravated assault leading to the loss of life. Adding to his crimes, it was discovered that he had been carrying Sophia's money and credit cards, which he had used for personal transactions. The 37-year-old man was sentenced to life imprisonment, with the possibility of parole after serving at least 20 years. In June 2021, Sombath's lawyers filed an appeal, but the court upheld the original sentence. There was also an attempt to sue Miri, accusing her of instigating the fight that led to Sophia's tragic end. However, Miri successfully defended herself, stating that her relationship with Sombath was entirely consensual and that it was he who initiated their affair. As a result, she was cleared of all charges. Meanwhile, Melis decided to end her marriage. In July 2021, she filed for divorce and gained full custody of their 2 children. For her, it was the only way to move forward and protect her family from the fallout of Sombath's actions. What lessons can we learn from this story?